So I use business jazz, if you will, to demonstrate that you have to have frameworks, structures. Things like a 12-bar blues. I don't know if you're musical, but 12-bar blues is a framework, just like a business plan is a framework. But within it, you can improvise. There's been millions, I would say, of different songs and tunes written within a 12-bar blues framework. So it's a framework, so you need a structure which you can then break. Jazz is a combination of left and right brain. Jazz, another thing that really works well in jazz, which teams get confused about. When it comes to collaborating, I've never yet met a client that didn't say to me, David, we need to work together more. We need to sell across our divisions. We need to understand what each other do, that this organization isn't working together effectively as a team. So can you give us training so we all know what everybody else is doing? Well, and my response is, yes, I can give you some training, and yes, we can run some sessions. But each person does not need to actually be able to do what the other person does. In an ad agency, the ad guys don't need to be great at databases, and they never will be, by the way. But they do need to understand where a database plays a role and where it could perhaps help them and be a part of it, and when they need to perhaps call a database guy in. It's the same across all companies, and it's the same in a jazz group. You need to understand that perhaps the violin is not so loud as the drums, so it needs to have a bit more space, or it needs to be amplified. You need to understand who's playing the solo. You need to understand how the instruments play together, their ranges, to make the music. And of course, at the end, you also have to recognize that you may be able to make more money and have more fun if you play together as a band than if you work by yourself. It becomes a bit dull listening to a trumpet by itself all day. On the other hand, if you get too many instruments, it becomes a cacophony and everybody trips over each other. So how do you choose the right instruments? How do you listen? How do you understand? How do you play together? How do you make money together? How do you respect each other? How do you improvise together within the framework? How do you take the lead from each other? How do you have your little solos? How do you pull it all together into something that feels right? And we know at the end of the day, when you perform with a group of people and it feels right, that's where the greatest joy is. In fact, that's where the greatest client value is, because with jazz, the audience is just as much a part of the product and the experience as the players, which is exactly the way it is in business with our customers.